This is an advanced topic in digital marketing. We will understand how Google handles the JavaScript and Angular contents in a web page. So, in very old days, there were not much JavaScript code in any web page. So, most of these web pages were kind of a static web pages where you have the contents that was easy to understand, mostly the HTML pages. But as the time moved on, websites started using JavaScript codes, and before 2014, Google did not understand these JavaScript code. It did not crawl the JavaScript codes. But slowly, sometimes around 2009, Google started the understanding this JavaScript code. They have projects going on, and by around 2014, Google tried to execute this JavaScript code, and to understand it, what are the new contents generated by this JavaScript code. So as an example, let's say we have on a web page something like there is a button, and if we click on that button, that web page generates some extra message. For example, a help function, or if you click on that, it will give you some instructions. So what Google will do is Google will try to click that button, in other words, it will try to execute that JavaScript code, and it will try to read that resulting code and then make it a part of this crawled web page, indexed web page. So that's how Google does it. It's also possible that this JavaScript clicking or doing something generates another web page, and Google will then crawl that resulting web page and do the indexing, crawling, and so on and so forth. So in other words, Google spends quite a lot of time now to understand your JavaScript course. So what happens in this phase, if you have an additional content on the same page, it's probably okay. And even in that case, you will try to include those contents without JavaScript. But there may be a problem where you generate a new link on a JavaScript page, and that resulting page may be similar, almost same as this current web page, and so the different web pages that are generated, they are very similar, so Google may not be willing to index it. So these things should be used very carefully, and therefore you may want to understand the server side code. So basically there are two types of code, two types of way in a script can run. One is called a client side code, which is like JavaScript or something. Basically the code runs on the machine of the person who is running the browser, and the server side, that code is runs on the server, so there is a load on the server. So you must understand both the possibilities, because the server side simplifies the crawling and indexing process. There are no surprises. The JavaScript side could be risky, and you must understand its implications. And if you do generate these contents using those JavaScript, you must ensure that these automatically generated content, they are rich, they are useful to the user, and engages him. That's the way you can make sure that there are no negative effect of those JavaScript code. If you do decide to give the Google bot the access to JavaScript code, you must give it the access to the Google those JavaScript codes. And you must also make your web pages fast and responsive to the Google crawls so that it can test it quickly. So we see that there are a lot of things that have changed, and Google now does execute the JavaScript codes. That's one thing you need to learn. One caution to the new SU experts, they start thinking that if we know the keywords, if we know title, tags, contents, that's probably not enough to be a real XU expert. You must understand what are those underlying technologies, even if in a preliminary stage. You need to understand HTML, HTML5. You need to understand what is JavaScript, try to understand, write some JavaScript code, even if it's simple JavaScript. You must write some of the codes, execute it, be a little bit of programmer, and then you must understand what's the difference between server-side script like PHP and Java, and what's the difference with JavaScript. I hope if you go into this, you will become a little bit more involved. If your task is to do SEO optimization for a small static site, you are probably okay. But if you are willing to do provide some service to the some commercial website, some big corporate house, then you those things comes into play. Hope this perspective helps you in understanding some of the advanced digital marketing topics. And if you would like, you can subscribe to Go Digital channel. Thanks.